Welcome to Irons United and our preview show for the Arsenal game this coming Saturday. It's an early kick-off for us, another 12:30 start. We go into the game against Arsenal with not a very good, not very good results. Again, we scored 46 goals this season. With their top scorer Aubameyang scoring 14, Lacazette on 7, several other players have chipped in. Who are the players that we're going to have to watch out for on Saturday, Matt?
Jesus, you said about. And Lacazette straight away. You look at the players they've got back, it's even worse because they've got Bellerin back. We know he's quick on the wing. Ozil was apparently back, so he always turns up against West Ham.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ramsey's just announced that he's leaving, so now he's going to probably go on a mission for the next 6 months to play his best football before he leaves.
Well, he's leaving to come to us, isn't he? Apparently.
It's just,
either Russell Juventus in the Champions League. I mean, you take your pick.
I think they announced this morning he's going to Juventus. I think it's official. He's having his medical on Sunday, apparently.
Right.
So he's gone. So he'll probably be a banker to score on Saturday.
And if Welbeck's fit, they'll even put him on and he'll score one against us because he always seems to do as well. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So maybe it might be only a 3-0 rather than a 4-0 loss on Saturday then.
Well, they've got rid of all the players that used to score against us because Walcott always scored and he's gone. Sanchez always scored and he's gone. And Cazorla always scored and he's gone. So
so that just leaves us to worry about Lacazette and Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And Ramsey, who's made something like half a dozen assists for the team. And in fact, Lacazette scoring 7. He's actually he's made 5 assists. So people say that Arsenal fans say that they're weak at the back. They don't like crosses coming in, and we've been having debates on our WhatsApp chat in the last week about putting big men in the box and just knocking it in. What do you think about that particular type of approach?
Well, I mean, Southampton done it and they won. But then Burnley played him and lost 3-1. It's not going forward I'm worried about us at the back because Pellegrini's now got this style of play where he likes to play out from the back.
Yeah.
Whereas the way that Arsenal now play, much like Liverpool and Man City, they press from the front.
Mm-hmm.
And when we played them, we haven't done well. We don't do well against teams that press us from the top.
We don't, but ironically, when we played them at the beginning of the season, the scoreline kind of flattered them. We played really well against them. We showed some real signs of progress. And Anderson had a decent game, and I remember he played in the middle of the park that day rather than out wide. But we took the game to them, and we did create some chances, and the 3-1 scoreline was quite flattering to them. So, do you think if we press them, there'd be a team that we could get something out of, despite the record that we got against them?
They don't do well against crosses. That's their thing. I mean, we don't do well either, but luckily Arsenal don't really play crosses.
Yeah.
If we've got bodies in the box that can unsettle the defence, we could get rewards for it, but that's not really been our style of play this season. He likes to sort of play it on the floor more, whereas it doesn't work against Arsenal. So it depends, is Pellegrini going to be willing to change his tactics, or is he going to stick to his guns and try and outplay him, which I cannot see ending well. Right. We're not good enough to outpass Arsenal. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
But this is the start of a 3-year plan. I know Arsenal have only done really the same because they got a new manager, but they already had the players there.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing they didn't have before was the steel in midfield, which they brought in Guendouzi and Torreira, and they've given them that steel in midfield now. So you're not going to outbatter them in midfield.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was going to say, who else do you think will be playing for Arsenal? Who's out and who's in at the moment in terms of their injuries, etc.?
They had a massive injury list at the back, and apparently they've all trained this week, so all their defenders are pretty much back. They're only really missing Mkhitaryan and Danny Welbeck, by the sounds of things, and Koscielny. Koscielny? I think Koscielny might be out.
So really, they've got a very strong squad coming to us on Saturday then.
You can't pick the team because you don't know what formation he's going to play. Because they either play a 4-4-2 or a 3-4-3. Now, personally, I hope they play the 4-4-2 because they seem to struggle more playing 4 at the back. And if you play 3-4-3, you're going to have those 3 attacking wingers. Against our back 4, it's going to be awful. Yeah,
it's going to be quite challenging. Moving on to West Ham, I mean, we've got our own injury crisis at the moment, and Pellegrini has had to sort of chop and change throughout the season, especially in the last few games. We know Balbuena's out, and our understanding is that he's going to have an operation. Can you see us going in the transfer window this January to strengthen at the back?
I can. I don't know if they'll buy anyone. I think it might be more like a loan if they can get someone in.
Cahill?
Because I wouldn't want him, no. But if you're desperate, I guess you're desperate.
Who would you start at the back? Or does he have not much choice against Arsenal? Who would you start at the back?
I don't think he has much choice because, as I said, they have still in the midfield now, so you're going to have to play Rice in the midfield to combat against theirs. So in that case, you're going to have to play Diouf and Ogbonna. And Rice said because they don't seem to play well together at all.
Yeah, they don't seem to have a lot of understanding, similar to in a similar way to the way Diop and Balbuena have been functioning. And Rice said in a newspaper interview today that his actual preferred position is defensive midfield because he can get around the pitch more, he can get involved more. It seems to suit him better, even though he could drop at the back. But I think you're right. I don't think we're going to start him at the back on Saturday. I think he will play in midfield. And talking of which, that's where most games are won or lost. Who do you reckon will be playing alongside Rice on Saturday?
I think he'll play Noble. I think purely because this is one of the games Noble normally gets up for. It's a London derby, and Noble will turn up for a London derby, as stupid as it sounds.
Yeah.
And although Obiang's the better passer, he doesn't really do the nitty gritty, which any other season would have been fine. But as I said, with the 2 guys they have in the middle now, it's normally one of Guendouzi and Torreira alongside Xhaka, and all 3 of them are tough tackling players.
They're tough tackling, but they're also quite fast as well. And I think that the concern with Noble is his speed. You know, he could get outrun. We've seen a couple of times this season where he's been outrun in midfield, and that's quite a concern. And with the players that you've just mentioned about from Arsenal, do you think that perhaps that could happen again this Saturday?
It could, but that's also why I'd be tempted to play Rice, because you can tell Rice not to go forward and he will just sit there. Yes, he does like to get around the pitch, but you've seen it as well that he has sat in front of the back 4 in games he's had to do it. So he could get him to just sit there and say, you don't move. I mean, Obiang would be good at doing it as well, but I think Pellegrini will pick Noble just because it's a London derby and Noble seems to get up more for him.
We had a quite a heated debate in our WhatsApp group the other day about flooding the midfield and playing 1 up front. Are you an advocate of that, or do you think we should play 2 up front or 1 just off the front man?
It depends on the game, but tomorrow, apparently Hernandez isn't fit, so apparently Hernandez won't make it.
Yeah.
So if you either go 2 up front, is Carroll? Can you get 60, 70 minutes out of Carroll? I don't know. If you can, I would start 2 up front.
Would Andy Carroll be one of them? Would Andy Carroll be one of your starters up front against Arsenal? And having said that,
we've only really got. I suppose if you bring in Xander Silva, we've got 4 centre forwards. But technically, we've only really got 3. with Perez, and I wouldn't want to start Perez.
Yeah,
I know strange it sounds because sometimes you say start him against their old team, but I just can't see him doing anything.
Yeah. I can't see Perez starting. Perez may be on the bench, but I agree with you. I can't see him starting. But
then again, it'll be interesting to see if Arnautovic starts or not.
He'll start. Why wouldn't he? What? Because he's going to China. I think that rumor is going to die out in the next couple of days. I just don't think there's any legs in that. So I can see Arnie starting. But what you said about pumping the ball in the air and in the box, and that's where it might hurt them. Is this the type of game that you'd want Carroll to play in? Sort of get on the end of those crosses? It depends
on the tactics. As I say, it depends on the tactics. If he's going to play it on the floor, I would play Silva with Arnautovic.
Yeah.
But if he is going to just lump crosses in the whole game, then I would play Carroll.
But who would be playing to provide those crosses? Anderson is not a crosser of the ball. He's more of a game player.
This is where you get your fullback involved.
Right.
So Rice always drops in to make it a back three, and you get your fullbacks up putting crosses in.
So who would be fullback? Zabaleta and Creswell, or Zabaleta and Masuaku?
No, Creswell. You can't play Masuaku. I'm sorry, you can't.
But
as good as he was last year, he's sort of regressed. He's lost his confidence.
Yeah.
At least last year, he could get past the player. Creswell doesn't really go past players, but Creswell's got a better delivery.
He has got a good delivery, absolutely.
So you're better off having him sitting him 30 yards back, putting crosses in, rather than Masuaku getting down to like 10 yards out and then just doing nothing with the ball.
What about Antonio? Do you see him playing a part? Do you see him maybe playing up front with
Actually, honestly, I'd forgotten about him, and I could see it, yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, if you don't think Carroll's going to last the whole game, I could quite easily see Arnautovic and Antonio starting up front.
After Carroll's excuse me. After Carroll's performances in the last two games, I mean, he started against Birmingham. No, did he come on against Birmingham, or he started?
He came off.
No, he came on,
didn't he?
Came on for Arnautovic.
Yeah.
But he started the last league game as well, and he didn't do much against Brighton. He was taken off at half time. Given that, do you really see Pellegrini? Does Pellegrini really trust someone like Carroll to?
Well, he's been talking about his abilities obviously in the press. So he obviously knows there's stuff there. Mm-hmm. The only thing I would say is that obviously our style of play doesn't suit him.
Yeah.
But in the second half, when we got about Brighton and started scoring, is when we started playing long balls.
But should we be adapting our game to suit Carroll, or
no, we shouldn't?
Have we advanced beyond that?
We shouldn't be adapting it to do it. But as I said, we're not a Man City, we're not Liverpool. You can't just play one way and go, that's the way we're playing. Because there's teams better than us at doing certain things. You have to look at the tactics, look at this game situation. And the game situation would be more crosses, which suits Carroll. So in that instance, it's like when you say, plan B is bring on the big man and lump balls forward.
Yeah.
When we played against Brighton, we had him on the pitch and we didn't play balls forward. Now, it's not playing balls forward is not a problem, but we weren't getting down the wing and putting crosses in.
I remember our game.
Came off at half time. The second half, they started getting down the wing and putting crosses in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the irony. I remember our last game at when our last season at the Boleyn when we played Arsenal at their ground, and one of the goals came from Chiati, a fantastic header on the edge of the box. So what you're saying seems to stand ground, even though that was a few years back.
The last season at Upton Park, the last game against Arsenal at Upton Park, we played Carroll and he scored a hat-trick. Throwing crosses in the box. He scored 2 headers and a bicycle kick. It does work, and that wasn't just lumping balls forward. That was getting the ball down, working it into wide positions to create opportunities for a cross. There's difference between Big Sam lumping it forward, winning a knock-on, and then doing something, between working space on the wing to put a cross in. Because as crossing, you're creating a goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And where do you think we are right now under Pellegrini and against a team like Arsenal? Are we closer to the Bilic style of football and progressed? Because we certainly don't seem to be anywhere near that god-awful era under Allardyce.
No, the football is getting better. But like I said, I don't think we have the team there to do it. That being said, if he plays, he could play Antonio and Arnautovic up front and press from the front.
Yeah, because Antonio could use his weight. and bulldoze his way through. That could disrupt the Arsenal defence. That's quite a possibility.
Yeah.
It's good, despite all the injuries we've got. It's good that we've got, we are talking about different options, because we still haven't mentioned, out wide, Anderson out on one side, whether Nasri will play a part against his old team. Whether Snodgrass will start.
Whether he can fit on, whether he's fit to start or not, I would definitely get Nasri on at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because you do have that old adage of old players do score against their old teams.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being Nasri, even though it was only against Birmingham, he showed he had the quality to make a difference.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. But you're right about his. He still needs a couple of games under his belt, so I reckon you're right there. So it looks like Snodgrass will start out wide, or would you go for it and go for Diangana?
It's difficult because obviously Diangana will give you more pace, but Snodgrass will give you that more defensive shape.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're playing 3-4-3, it means they're playing an attacking winger and an attacking midfielder on the wing. So you're going to need that extra defence, because otherwise, the fullback's going to get continually bombarded, overlapped. So in that instance, I would be tempted to play Snodgrass.
Yeah,
and maybe bring Diangana on in the second half when the game's more stretched, if we're still in the game at that point.
And here's another good thing: we've got we don't know what how it's going to go, but we've got some options now. Nasri, Diangana, Antonio. So if any of those Carroll, if any of those players don't start, they're on the bench, so they could change the way the game changed when Noble came on against Brighton, and that's why I'm sort of hesitant when you said it's almost a no-brainer that Noble's going to start. But I'm wondering if he would, or whether Pellegrini might try.
I wouldn't start him, but I just think Pellegrini will.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm wondering if we've got enough ballers in the team that could actually. I know you're saying that we don't have the players, but we've just reeled off a number of players that can actually play some really decent football. Obiang's got a good pass on him. Nasri showed last week that he's still got it. But he does need some more game time. Anderson likes that intricate play. Maybe him and Nasri could work off each other quite well. So I'm playing devil's advocate here, because I know I sort of said it in our WhatsApp group that I think we should go. We should go like for like against them. We should try to play football against them. And I don't think any of us are actually expecting a result against Arsenal. But then that tells me why not just go for it and see what we might get from them.
Yeah, I mean you could go for it. I mean, I still think either if he played Nasri, if he wouldn't play him as a centre mid, I can't imagine him, because I don't think he's got the defensive, especially not against a team like Arsenal, because he hasn't got the defensive shape. I could see it against like a lower team. You could play Nasri in the midfield alongside Declan Rice, and Declan Rice would just sit in front of them. Would
you put Nasri maybe just off the front man, just off on Arnautovic?
You could do if you wanted.
As a number 10.
You could do. I mean, we did it plenty of times last season with Lanzini and Arnautovic, and it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's how fit is Nasri?
Yeah. Well, if we got 60 minutes out of the first 60 minutes out of him, and then replaced him for someone like Carroll, would that work against Arsenal?
I could do. Because then you could play like a 4-2-3-1, and play Nasri in the hole and let him roam about.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're trying to put a gloss on this because we kind of feel. I think we both feel that it's not going to be an easy game on Saturday.
No.
I dare ask you, what do you think what's your prediction for Saturday?
I think we're going to lose. I think it's going to be 3-1 Arsenal. As much as I don't want to be a downer, I would love a draw. I'd love to take. If you're me at 1-1 now, I'd take a 1-1.
I'm gonna.
That's the optimist in me. The pessimist says it's going to be a 3-1 win to Arsenal.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be confident, and I'm going to say we're going to draw 2-2. I think we'll probably go a goal down. We might even go 2 goals down. But I think in the second half we might come back and just snap, just the way we did against Brighton. Because Arsenal are a very good team. Arsenal are an excellent team. But I think we're seeing what Pellegrini's trying to do with West Ham, and I think and it gives me confidence that, as I said earlier, despite the result against them at Arsenal at the beginning of the season, we played really well. and I think we can pull off a bit of a surprise on Saturday. So I'm going to go for a 2-2, and to be really confident, a 3-2 to us. Any other?
You got more confidence than me. I said, my heart says we'll get a draw. My head says that Arsenal
will lose. That's fair enough. And I know, I'm trying to be confident because I hate to ever say that we're going to lose, despite who it is. It maybe against Liverpool and City, I'd say that, but against any other team in the league, I don't want to say that. Anything else you want to add, Matt?
No. As I said, it will be interesting if Arnautovic actually plays on Saturday.
Why do you? Okay, before we go, why do you think he might not play? Because of the rumours or because of something else?
It depends on how genuine the rumours are. Do
you really think he's going to go to China, mate? Seriously?
This the thing. This is like the Payet situation all over again. And don't forget, West Ham said you're not going anywhere. So what did Payet do? Payet said, "Well, I'm not playing anymore."
Yeah, but so can you see Arnautovic doing the same thing
for $400,000 a week? Yeah, $400,000 a week.
Yeah, but I tell you why I don't believe it, because Arnautovic has already said, he wants to play. He's already said he wants to play in the Champions League. He'd love to do that. So then, why go to China? Why? What? And what's he going to
money? It'd literally be money.
Yeah, and I don't think that's why
his agent turned around and said, "Oh, he wants to go win trophies."
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
in China.
I'm not having that. I'm sorry, I'm not having that. No one looks back on their career and goes, "Oh, I was in the Premier League. I was all right. I done all right, but won that league in China." Like one cares.
Which is why I don't think he'll go. I think maybe he'll use it as leverage to maybe get a better deal at West Ham. But I really can't see it happening. I really can't. But I guess time will tell.
Yep.
Okay. So your prediction is a confident 2-2, a confident draw, and a not so confident loss. And I'm going for a confident draw and a crazy 3-2 win. Well, that's us. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think we might give Arsenal a run for their money on Saturday?